so excited to do Friday FAQ with you. Hi Facebook, I'm glad everyone's here. I'm going to do this week's Friday FAQs, answering all of the questions our members submitted during the week about the current meal plan or just in general. I'm looking at you guys in a different way today, so it's a little fun. So the first question is, I always wonder about the size of potatoes and sweet potatoes. They vary so much in size. Yeah, I know, it's really crazy how different they can be. I wish you would include a weight. I don't weigh mine. But what I can tell you is I usually buy ones that are kind of like about a little bit bigger than my palm. I don't know if I have any. Let me see. What is one? So here's some that I have, and this is a pretty big sweet potato. And this is a pretty moderate sized potato. For something like this, I kind of look at it and see how big it is, and I'm like, is this enough for two? Should I add another one? I kind of just play it by ear, but with a potato, a little more or less usually isn't going to make or break a recipe, and the calorie difference is really marginal, so it's a potato, eat it. Let me see, next question is, I'm very curious about how you achieve such a low body fat percentage. The meal plans. I know, it's the most unsatisfactory answer ever. And everyone who stops me on the street will be like, what is your, workout? And I'm like, it's diet. I actually talked a whole lot about this in, episode 12 of season 1 of Shortcut to Slim podcast. And so definitely check that out. But more or less, it's not something that, if I wanted really big biceps, I know that I would need to lift my biceps, but that's not how body fat works. Body fat just reduces as you have either a calorie deficit, you have to lose body fat, and the best way to do that is through diet. And so that's what I did, and it took a really long time, but I got here, and you can get there, and if nothing else, you're going to feel a lot better along the way with all the food you're eating. But really, seriously, all I do is just eat the meal plans, and I live kind of an active life. And I don't mean active like I go work out. And I actually just talked about this in the most recent Shortcut to Slim episode from season 2, is it's just everything you do is exercise. Walking my pugs, washing my car, cleaning, cooking. Cooking is actually a huge source of exercise. I forget what it is. I want to say it's 50 calories an hour. It's actually a really serious energy expenditure. So if you're going to do anything, cook, because cooking and cleaning and scrubbing and chopping, all that stuff uses calories, and plus you're standing and you're kind of moving and your body's moving. It's exercise. And shopping, does that count? I love to shop. Groceries, oh my God, I am getting really nice arms, I feel just from carrying all my groceries home every week. So let's see, what other questions were there? Oh, everyone's been asking about my body scans, which is how I got my body fat measured. I use InBody, but there's other ones out there too. Most insurances don't cover it. They're kind of hard to find, but if you kind of Google InBody in your area, you might find it. But be prepared, they're expensive. They're $50 to $100, but it's totally worth it. I'm super glad I do it every year, twice a year, so I would do it. It's a really helpful thing to know if you're struggling. Let me see, other questions. What is a good substitute for mayo when I can't have soy oil or high-fat items? This is actually a great question. So there are soy-free mayos on the market, but they tend to be high in oil because that's what most mayos are, is their oil if they're not egg-based. So what you could do is use hummus, which usually works. Hummus is a really good substitute. A lot of people use coconut milk or coconut cream, from the can. If you can have nuts, there's some cashew-based ones. But yeah, those are all probably really good. Oh, yogurt. Yogurt's always a great option. If any of the vegan yogurts, the soy or the almond or the coconut, any of those yogurts will work. But yeah, so those are all really great options for you if you can't have mayonnaise. Let's see. Can you make some substitution recommendations for those of us who are more sensitive, prone to bloating and water retention? So water retention usually happens from salt. It's not usually the sort of food sensitivity reaction. So definitely just kind of cut back on your salt. For me, if I go really crazy with my mustard and my hot sauce, I blow up like a balloon. And if I eat out, I really just retain water so easily. So for me, salt is something I really have to be mindful of. And then if you have a sensitive tummy, and I totally understand the sensitive tummy thing. The biggest thing I've learned is to chew. really seriously. Chew really well. Like baby food, cream, almost to the point where there's no flavor anymore. Just like chew it really well and slow. Because like if you, you're like shoving it in, which you're going to get a lot of air and that doesn't help. But definitely that, of course, tracking your food or keeping some kind of a journal can help you figure out intolerances or sensitivities. It took a really long time for me to figure stuff out. And then even after I started to figure things out, I figured it was also pairing issues. And one of my favorite examples is like, I can eat bananas. I can eat oranges. Cannot have oranges and bananas together. It's so super annoying, but if you have a sensitive tummy, really paying attention, really kind of keeping a journal or using an app will make a difference in your life. Let me see more questions. It's so small looking at the font. In Shortcut to Slim, you mentioned that when you drink alcohol, everything that you eat will pretty much stick to you in a sense. How does kombucha fit into this? In the bottle, it says it's considered a beer. So I'm not really sure why the kombucha is saying it's a beer because it's not an alcohol. Kombucha is basically fermented juice. So it's not a health food the way an apple or a kale is. And I don't even like to say something's good or bad or healthy or not because it's like compared to what? Like a kombucha compared to a Pepsi, sure, it's a healthy thing. A kombucha compared to wine, sure, you could say it's healthier. A kombucha compared to water, not so much. So it really kind of depends on where you're going. But for things like kombucha, what I generally tell people is if that's your option, like if you're drinking that instead of wine, that's great. If you can just drink water at all, that's better. But it's not, I don't look at them as a health food because a lot of times it's the same thing as juice. So there's a lot of sugar and there's no fiber. And so it's basically empty calories. The whole stuff with probiotics is mostly marketing, except for like heavy duty prescription probiotics from your doctor. Most of them aren't going to make a difference. It's better to treat what you've got in your gut already really, really well with good foods and sort of like let the flora do its thing. This is going to be all of season 3, but in terms of it, it doesn't work the same way as alcohol. So in the Shortcut to Slim episode, I talk about alcohol and how when you drink alcohol, you basically can't burn any of your fat stores. And the science in that is really interesting and fascinating. But one of the things why that is because it's a toxin and your body immediately has to use up those calories. Like it can't store them. It can't store them the way it stores calories from, this or beans or something. And so it does it first, which is why you can't burn fat because it's got to use that first. It's not going to use the stores. It's not going to use what's in your pantry. And so that's why. And kombucha is a juice. It's a simple sugar. So it's kind of like that, but it's still not the same because it's not a toxin. So I need to science this a little more. And I'll definitely look into that in season 3 when I get into gut bugs. I think that's it. What scan to use? Everyone wants to know my scans. In-body. There's also, oh no, I lost Facebook. There's also DEXA. Did I mention DEXA? I did. And so there's a couple of them out there. Health gyms have them. Universities. I get mine done actually at the University of California. No, USC. Southern California? I don't know. But anyway, so let's see. Any questions coming through on Facebook? Oh no, just lots of likes and hearts. Thanks guys, you're the best. Anybody on Instagram? Nope, no comments there. Ooh, okay, so that's Happy Friday, TGIF. And I guess I'll be cooking probably this weekend. I think I'll probably make something. And there's so many good recipes this week. I definitely need to make another one. And then yeah. Have a good weekend. I'm super tired. It's been a long week for me, very long week for me. I'm ready to kick back and watch some like really bad shows on Netflix and maybe prep some food for tomorrow. And I hope you guys have a beautiful weekend and a beautiful week. Thanks for joining me again for FAQ Friday.